Namaskar, Jai Shri Krishna. Promulgating text 8, text 9 and text 10 of chapter 9. The passing away of Bhismadeva, first canto, creation of Srimad Bhagavatam. Text 8. Anne cha munayo brahman brahmarata dayo amalaha shishyai rupeta ajagamuha kashyapangi rasadayaha. And many others like Shukdev Goswami and other purified souls, Kashyapa and Angirasa and others, all accompanied by their respective disciples, arrived there. Shukdev Goswami, Brahmarata, the famous son and disciple of Shri Vasudevaya, who taught him first the Mahabharata and then Srimad Bhagavatam. Shukdev Goswami recited 14 lakh verses of the Mahabharata in the council of the Gandharvas, Yakshas and Rakshasas, and he recited Srimad Bhagavatam for the first time in the presence of Maharaj Parikshit. He thoroughly studied all the Vedic literatures from his great father. Thus, he was a completely purified soul by dint of his extensive knowledge in the principles of religion. From Mahabharata Sabha Parva 4.11, it is understood that he was also present in the royal assembly of Maharaj Yudhishthir and at the fasting of Maharaj Parikshit. As a bona fide disciple of Shri Vasudevaya, he inquired from his father very extensively about religious principles and spiritual values, and his great father also satisfied him by teaching him the yoga system by which one can attain the spiritual kingdom, the difference between fructive work and empiric knowledge, the ways and means of attaining spiritual realization, the four ashramas, namely the student life, the householder's life, the retired life, and the renounced life, the sublime position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the process of seeing him eye to eye, a bona fide candidate for receiving knowledge, the consideration of the five elements, the unique position of intelligence, the consciousness of the material nature and the living entity, the symptoms of the self-realized soul, the working principles of the material body, the symptoms of the influential modes of nature, the tree of perpetual desire and psychic activities. Sometimes he went to the sun planet with the permission of his father and Naradji. Descriptions of his travel in space are given in the Shanti Parva of the Mahabharata 332. At last he attained the transcendental realm. He is known by different names like Araneya, Aruni Sutta, Vaiyasaki and Vyasatmaja. Kashyapa, one of the Prajapatis, the son of Marichi, and one of the sons-in-law of Prajapati Daksha. He is the father of the gigantic bird Garud, who was given elephants and tortoises as eatables. He married 13 daughters of Prajapati Daksh, and their names are Aditi, Diti, Danu, Kashtha, Arishtha, Surasa, Ila, Muni, Krodhavasha, Tamra, Surabhi, Sarama and Tini. He begot many children, both demigods and demons, by those wives. From his first wife Aditi, all the 12 Adityas were born, one of whom is Vaman, the incarnation of Godhead. This great sage Kashyap was also present at the time of Arjun's birth. He received a presentation of the whole world from Parshuram, and later on he asked Parshuram to go out of the world. His other name is Arishtanemi. He lives on the northern side of the universe. Angirasa. He is the son of Maharshi Angira and is known as Brihaspati, the priests of the demigods. It is said that Dronacharya was his partial incarnation. Shukracharya was the spiritual master of the demons, and Brihaspati challenged him. His son is Kacha, and he delivered the fire weapon first to Bharadvaj Muni. He begot 6 sons, like the fire god, by his wife Chandramasi, one of the reputed stars. He could travel in space, and therefore he could present himself even in the planets of Brahmalok and Indralok. He advised the king of heaven, Indra, about conquering the demons. Once he cursed Indra, who thus had to become a hog on the earth and was unwilling to return to heaven. Such is the power of the attraction of the illusory energy. Even a hog does not wish to part with its earthly possessions in exchange for a heavenly kingdom. He was the religious preceptor of the natives of different planets. Text 9. Tana sametana mahabhaganu palabhya vasuttamaha pujayamasa dharmadnyo deshakala vibhagavita. Bhismadeva, who was the best amongst the 8 Vasus, received and welcomed all the great and powerful rishis who were assembled there, for he knew perfectly all the religious principles according to time and place. Expert religionists know perfectly well how to adjust religious principles in terms of time and place. All the great acharyas or religious preachers or reformers of the world executed their mission by adjustment of religious principles in terms of time and place. There are different climates and situations in different parts of the world. And if one has to discharge his duties to preach the message of the Lord, he must be expert in adjusting things in terms of the time and place. Bhismadeva was one of the 12 great authorities in preaching this cult of devotional service, and therefore he could receive and welcome all the powerful sages assembled there at his deathbed from all parts of the universe. He was certainly unable at that time to welcome and receive them physically because he was neither at his home nor in a normal healthy condition. But he was quite fit by the activities of his sound mind, and therefore he could utter sweet words with hearty expressions, and all of them were well received. One can perform one's duty by physical work, by mind and by words. And he knew well how to utilize them in the proper place, and therefore there was no difficulty for him to receive them, although physically unfit. Text 10. Krishnam cha tata prabhavadnya asinam jagdishwaram rudistham pujayamasa mayayo patta vigraham. Lord Sri Krishna is situated in everyone's heart, and yet he manifests his transcendental form by his internal potency. This very Lord was sitting before Bhismadeva, and since Bhismadeva knew of his glories, he worshipped him duly. The Lord's omnipotency is displayed by his simultaneous presence in every place. He is present always in his eternal abode Goloka Vrindavan. And still, he is present in everyone's heart and even within every invisible atom. When he manifests his eternal transcendental form in the material world, he does so by his internal potency. The external potency or the material energy has nothing to do with his eternal form. All these truths were known to Shri Bhismadeva, who worshipped him accordingly. Thank you.